Okay, hello everyone. I am specifically titling this video, Crime Anxiety Continues in Queens as Summer Approaches. And wow, we are officially 1 week away from the unofficial start of summer. And as you can hear in the background, I don't know if the mic is picking it up, but of course when you hear the lawnmowers and people doing their yard work, that means summer is coming. So there's a lot of stuff going on here in Queens that we do need to talk about in this particular video. And if you're going to ask me about my borough president talking about restoring the budget cuts to the libraries, no, I don't even want to talk about Donovan Richards. All right, the man just sickens me, and he has an issue with being a hypocrite. Let's just put it as that. I'm not going to get into any more controversy about him, but we have to talk about what's going on here in Queens. Some stories, as usual, do get ignored by the media. One particular story that we're going to get into was last night in Jamaica. And you may be wondering, well, what happened in Jamaica last night? Last night, we had a pallet fire in Jamaica. Alright? So, look at this. I mean, you see it for yourself. I mean, I want to show you something very important about this. Yep. Notice something in the background. That's the Long Island Railroad. This was not too far from the tracks at Jamaica. And this caused at least a good 20-minute delay last night on the main line and on the Babylon branch. And also, not to mention, it affected trains trying to get into Jamaica from Brooklyn. So, yeah. I mean, thankfully nobody got hurt. But the media specifically has been making a very big deal about another particular fire in the Bronx. Now, even though I want to focus on Queens in this video, we do need to talk about how the media, prioritizes one thing and then they won't cover the other news. All right, so this was a pretty bad fire in the Bronx. All right. Now I want to mention, one of the firefighters had a really bad smoke inhalation. I want you to see this part right here. It's called xenoxetoxicity. Hydrocombaline is administered when we believe somebody might have smoke exposure because it's powerful, and they sooner than use it, the more likely it will be to save a life. So, again, very unfortunate. No civilians were hurt, but, 2 other firefighters were also hurt. One was treated for serious injuries and is now in stable condition. So this happened in the Casson Point neighborhood on White Plains Road, this fire. So I just want to quickly go to, let me see right here. Yeah, obviously you could tell Eric Adams was there. And look, there's Josh Heinecker from Channel 7. Yep. Look how he got into the shot on New York 1. Yeah, I just want to go briefly here. Then we'll move back on to the Queens news, because there was actually a fire in Queens that did not get covered at all by any mainstream media outlet. So, yeah, we're going to get into that. And then we're going to talk about another incident that occurred in Jamaica. And we do have other stuff in Queens that does need to be covered. Now, look how bad this fire was in Bayside. And I exactly know where this address is. So we're going to look it up on the Google Maps tab. I just want to see if I have my other tabs here. Yes, so we have other stuff we're going to get into. And I want to end the video on talking about the casinos that are being proposed. So we will talk about that at the very end of this video. So anyhow, let's talk about what happened in Bayside. There was a real serious house fire not too far from Oakland Lake. I want to make sure you guys can read the headline. I do apologize if it's being covered up. There we go. Doing all this on the fly with OBS. Firefighters battle house fire in the Oakland Lakes area of Bayside. One firefighter did suffer a minor injury. So let's get into this one. This happened last Sunday on Mother's Day, believe it or not. This happened at 46-24 217th Street on Mother's Day at 2:30. 12 units and 60 firefighters and EMS personnel were brought up to the scene between 47th and 46th Avenue, a block south of Northern Boulevard. Yep, like I figured, right by Oakland Lake. One of the firefighters suffered a minor injury and was treated at the scene. The fire was brought under control at 3:12 p.m. So again, this was from this picture, it looked very serious. Now, I want to see what the house looked like before the fire. So we're going to look it up. 46-24 217th Street. Okay, here it is. I'm sorry if I had to pause the video there, because again, there are some sensitive stuff I don't want being shown on my Google Maps account. But let's give you an idea of where this place is in Bayside. So I know exactly where this is. This is not too far from Northern Boulevard. Yep. So I know this area very well. Again, Oakland Lake's right there. So let's take a look and see the particulars, because I think this was the most recent street view in August of 2022. So this appears to be a connected building. Yeah, look at that. So this was what the house looked like before the fire. I want to see if we can get an earlier date than that. Let's go to 2019. We'll go further back before COVID. Wow. So I think this house was recently redone in the 2010s, if I am correct. Yeah, see that? This house looked different in 2014. Then it looked different in... Yeah, see? See, notice something different. Notice something different. In October of 2014... Yeah, I think they redid it. And I think it was actually for sale in 2014. And then in 2017, look how different it looks. Yeah. I think they repainted that brown side of the house before the fire. So this was a view from December of 2017. Because you know me, I like to look at what these houses look like before, a fire occurs. Okay, now we're going to get into another incident that occurred in Jamaica. Now, in this particular incident, there was a criminal who murdered a man over a parking spot. Now, where in Jamaica did this happen? Oh, I know exactly where this is. 167th Street in Hillside. Yep, not a safe area at all. A lot of people that are up to no good in that area. So this occurred in April. And sadly, it claimed the life of a 76-year-old man. So according to the Crime Stoppers unit of the NYPD, this occurred at 3:30 p.m. back on Friday, April 5th. According to the Crime Stoppers unit, the suspect pulled up the location inside a four-door sedan, then got out of the vehicle and confronted 76-year-old Muhammad Hassan, who lived 6 blocks away at 173rd Street. The two men became engaged in an argument over a parking spot, sources familiar with the case said. Moments later, the words turned violent when the perpetrator punched and pushed Hassan, knocking him to the ground. The fall caused Hassan to strike his head on the sidewalk and he lost consciousness. Following the attack, police report the perpetrator returned to a black four-door sedan, which then sped away eastbound along Hillside Avenue. The incident was reported to the 107 precinct. EMS rushed Hassan, who suffered head trauma, to NYC Health Jamaica Hospital in critical condition. Sadly, the man passed away on Monday, April 8th. So the death was declared a homicide. According to the Crime Stoppers unit, the suspect wore a black hooded sweatshirt and jacket along with a black face mask, gray pants, and white sneakers. So there you go. I mean, no surprise that this happened in Jamaica. But again, you know how the media works. We're just going to ignore certain stories. Just like how we're also going to ignore somewhat this story. Thank goodness. I got to give Pix11 credit. You know, it seems Pix11 is doing a decent job when it comes to our news here in Queens. Alright? So, let's see if I can read this article here. And I want y'all to read this with me too. So, first of all, I want to thank Charlton D'Souza from Passengers United for notifying me about this, because this actually happened right on top of the bus stops where the Q46, Q27, and the Q88 are. Yep. So, this happened at Quick Stop Deli. A robber pointed gun at a deli worker's head in Queens. So this happened in, yes, this is technically Queens Village, I think, or Bayside. I don't know. So this occurred at Quick Stop Deli at 223-24 Union Turnpike in Queens Village at 9:45 a.m. on Thursday, May 16th. The store worker was threatened after he was demanded money. The suspect fired one shot in the store, sending 3 employees running to the back of the deli. The deli manager told WPIX-TV he tackled the thief after the shooting, and the bullet grazed one of the workers. Police did not report any injuries. Officers found a 9mm shell casing at the scene. So, I want to see if there was a video. Yeah, I do have a video. So let's see if we can play this.
For a bodega employee this morning in Bayside, Queens.
The bullet was like, he filled the bullet from by his side, and he ran away on the back side of the store.
A male wearing a black mask, dressed in all black, entered the deli, pointed the gun at the employee, then fired a single shot, grazing his head. The employee ran to the back and kneeled for cover. That's when the suspect caught up to him and pointed the gun to his head. In an effort to prevent a tragedy, the store manager yelled to catch the suspect's attention.
He come to me, he pointed the gun at me, and he kicked me, and I was laid down on the ground at the deli, and then he grabbed me and forced me to open the register, and I opened the register. He took all the money and ran away.
Last month, Governor Hochul announced as part of the 2025 fiscal budget, a $3,000 tax credit would be available for small businesses that spend $4,000 on theft prevention measures, such as installation of cameras. But advocates say time is of the essence.
24 hours, 7 days a week, there's danger out there. There are criminals out there.
Fernando Mateo, founder of United Bodegas of America, says a pilot program called Safe Haven Bodegas was launched about 5 years ago after the death of Junior Guzman Feliz in the Bronx. It would include bulletproof doors, security cameras outside, more lighting, and
a panic button that they could signal to NYPD if there was an armed robbery or an assault with a weapon. And we have not gotten the funds for that.
So I'm re-recording this clip again because I didn't realize my mic was off. So I'll have to edit this video as we go along here. But this is the deli in question. And I know exactly where this is because this is where the Q46 bus stop eastbound is. Yep. So we got to move on now, because we have to talk about this awful incident in South Jamaica, where a 12-year-old girl was shot during a melee. Gunman is still at large. So this happened back on Wednesday night, 7:51 p.m., May 15th. This happened not far from the South Jamaica Public Housing Complex, 160th Street. 10 people involved in a fight became engaged in a dispute that devolved into a massive brawl. Authorities say the fight swiftly grew out of control, leading to a knife attack that left 2 women injured. During the melee, cops reported 2 unknown gunmen sidled up to the crowd and opened fire, striking a 12-year-old girl who was allegedly involved in the fight and sending the group running. Resident Natalie Filipina, my bad, it's Natalie Filipina, said, "No one seems to care. This is the second shooting of a child over here. This is sad and pathetic behavior. The 12-year-old girl who was shot in the arm was taken to Cohen's Children's Medical Center in Long Island, where she is expected to recover." Later on Wednesday evening, the NYPD reported a 26-year-old woman walked into Jamaica Hospital with a stab wound to the chest, while an 18-year-old woman was treated for lacerations to the head. Both were expected to survive. Officers from the 103rd Precinct could be seen hurriedly rushing around the scene of a shooting, while those injured in the brawl could be observed being treated in the back of an ambulance. So this possibly could be the 12-year-old girl, maybe. We don't know. And of course, we've had a lot of incidents lately involving violence in youth. 16-year-old Micaiah Brown was fatally shot in Soho while trying to break up a fight between schoolmates, while 17-year-old Sarah Rivera was allegedly stabbed to death by her 15-year-old friend in Sunnyside, Queens, outside the 46th Street subway station. Now, we're going to quickly get into those two incidents in just a second here. But the main takeaway out of this incident in South Jamaica, no arrests have been made. There's an ongoing investigation. So there you go. So let's get into the other incidents pretty quickly here. Now, Micaiah Brown, the good news is there was a suspect caught. And let's see if we can get some coverage from in the paper segment, because this actually was the top story on New York One this morning.
Okay, time to take a look at what's in the papers on this Saturday morning. Let's start with the Daily News. Busted in teen slaying. The headline this morning, that's 19-year-old Henry Thomas charged in the shooting death of another teenager, 16-year-old Micaiah Brown. This happened last week in Soho, one of our top stories as well. Police say Brown was trying to de-escalate a tense standoff between two groups when he was shot. They say Brown was hit as he tried to step between the gunman and a teenage girl. Those who knew Brown say that was just like him, someone who was always trying to do the right thing and keep the peace. The suspects got away, police say, on a city bike. Thomas was taken into custody yesterday. One more suspect still at large this morning. The Daily News also has more.
So there you go. I mean, thank goodness Channel 1 actually... They did spend a brief time on it before they did go to the fire in the Bronx this morning. Now, as far as Sarah Rivera is concerned, Jonathan and Jack from Passengers United were mentioned on NBC4 New York. So this is the video clip that I have right here. Let's take a look.
Passengers United condemned the violence and noted that the station doesn't have surveillance cameras near the entrances, and at least some of the cameras it does have upstairs aren't working.
Unacceptable. A 17-year-old girl lost her life. Who's going to be next, yo?
Police did catch the 15-year-old attacker. She's been charged with murder and criminal possession of a weapon. Police are not releasing her name because she's a minor. What prompted her to act so violently and take the life of another teenager is still a mystery tonight.
So there you go. I mean, what's going on with the violence? It just needs to stop. And I also want to mention that here in Fresh Meadows, a couple weeks ago, there was a shooting outside of the Applebee's here in Fresh Meadows, which, by the way, when I tried looking up information on it, there is no credible source on that story. So it's like, again, you know, who knows what's going to happen this week going into Memorial Day. That's all I'm going to say on that. So, let's get into some transportation news here. I'm going to organize it first. So, since we're on the NBC4 New York thing, what I'll do is we'll talk about the subway incident, and then we'll get into the tragedy on the Grand Central Parkway, and then we'll briefly touch up on the casinos. So, first incident on the F train. This is so crazy that I have to read this headline, but I'm reading it right now because To me, this seems like something in a movie. Here we go. Thieves sliced sleeping man's pants on the F train and took his phone and wallet. Yes. On the F train, folks. Where did this happen? So this happened last Tuesday, May 7th. Right near the Kew Gardens Union Turnpike Station at 3:30 in the morning. So, thankfully, the 52-year-old victim was not injured. And you know why they're making this a big deal, because Transit District 20 is the next stop over at Briarwood. So, yes. So this is a grand larceny incident. So there you go. I mean, I don't know how you could do something like this. And especially because it looks like the R160 in question, because I could tell by the seating it looks like an R160. It appears that this subway car did have cameras installed. And then look at this. I mean, this could be Jamaica Van Wyck. Based on the tile, I can tell that looks like Jamaica Van Wyck, because Kew Gardens does not have that tile. Alright, Kew Gardens is more of a concrete tile. So, yeah. Then we're going to get into this one. Ridgewood on the L line. So what happened on the L line? So this happened 2 months ago in March. Alright, Myrtle Wyckoff Avenue. 48-year-old victim was waiting on the platform at 10:20 p.m. when he was approached by a stranger who snatched a cell phone from one of his pockets. The victim confronted the robber. The assailant punched him multiple times in the face and then fled the scene on a southbound, on a westbound L train. Westbound L train. The victim was not injured during the attack, and the suspect, who remains at large, has been identified as 24-year-old Jorge Ortiz. So take a look at the surveillance picture very carefully as he was exiting the subway gate. The Crime Stoppers unit describes the suspect as a Latino, blonde hair. He was seen wearing a black hooded jacket over a black and white flannel shirt. Through May 12th, the 104 precinct has reported 72 robberies so far this year in 2024, 2 more than reported than the 70 at the same time in 2023, an uptick of 2.9%, according to the CompStat reports. Felony assaults are also up in the precinct with 104, 4 more than the 100 reported same time in 2023, an increase of 4%. And lastly, Long Island City. A subway slasher with a Grubhub bag slices woman on the E line. So what station did this happen at? Queens Plaza. This happened last Friday, May 10th, 11:44 p.m. This occurred on a World Trade Center bound E train. According to the police, the suspect approached a 22-year-old woman and displayed a sharp object, cut her on the left leg with the device, causing a laceration. Law enforcement sources said the slasher exited the train station at Queens Plaza, located at Jackson Avenue and Queens Boulevard, and fled to parts unknown. Cops said the victim remained on the E train and departed Lexington Avenue and 53rd Street, where she did call police. The incident was referred to the 108 precinct and Transit District 20. The victim was taken to New York Presbyterian Weill Cornell. She is in stable condition. A video police provided showed the suspect exiting the subway system through an emergency exit gate at the Queens Plaza station. The male suspect is pictured wearing a white baseball cap, a gray t-shirt with red and blue lettering on the front, and blue jeans, while carrying a large red bag with the Grubhub logo, typically used for food delivery. So here's a good look of the suspect. Remember, like I always say, see something, say something. Now we're going to get into what happened on the Grand Central Parkway on Mother's Day. What happened on the Grand Central Parkway? A pedestrian was struck and killed by an SUV driver while walking. Now, why would somebody be walking on the Grand Central Parkway is beyond me. So this happened on Mother's Day. The driver of the 2018 Toyota RAV4 SUV was traveling eastbound in the left-hand lane of the Grand Central Parkway just before 1 in the morning, approaching exit 11 for Jewel Avenue and 69th Road in the Forest Hill section of Queens. When the walker stepped onto the center median into the left-handed lane of the travel where the collision occurred. Police from the 112 precinct in Forest Hills responded to a 911 call of a pedestrian struck and found the victim laying on the roadway unconscious and unresponsive with head and body trauma. The victim was taken to NYC Health Jamaica Hospital where he was pronounced dead. Thankfully, the good news is this incident was not a hit and run, as the 22-year-old driver of the 2018 Toyota RAV4 remained on the scene. There are no arrests. There is an investigation by the Highway District Collision Investigation Squad. The identity of the victim is being withheld pending proper family notification. So there you go. Very unfortunate. I mean, again, to me, I am still baffled why this happened, but now we're going to end on a very important note. And there is some good news for the Midtown area. A large majority of residents who live around 42nd Street are against the proposed Times Square casino. And again, I am against it because it is ripe. It's basically being proposed to be built not too far from where Bryant Park is. So let's watch the video from Pix 11.
Well, as New Yorkers, a lot of us actively avoid Times Square, but a new poll of registered voters who live in and around Times Square show a majority don't want a new casino built. Tuchin Research surveyed 400 registered voters. 71% are against this idea.
Only 9% believe Times Square is the best location in the city for a casino. 80% say they're concerned a casino would attract more crime. A state commission is currently considering bids for 3 casino locations in our area, Times Square, another next to Citi Field. That might be a nice spot.
Okay.
And a third at the Coney Island Boardwalk. Also a nice idea.
Yeah, that's a trek, though. Why don't we do Can we do a casino on the river, like a riverboat
Oh, like they do in
casino?
some cities. All right.
So I'm glad the residents around 42nd Street have said that they do not want this casino. I agree with them. And especially because, again, to have a casino by Bryant Park is a very bad idea. Just like how putting a casino near Flushing Meadows Park is a bad idea. So I hope the Coney Island plan does go through, because Coney Island is a very good location to put a casino. You know, it is. Because there's no parks. There's no large park space like Bryant Park or Flushing Meadows Park in that particular. And, you know, Coney Island is already a busy area. Just put it there. It makes a lot more sense. So, I think I'm done talking. Yeah, I'm just disgusted with everything. I'm just disgusted with everything today, folks. And again, we're in for a very long summer. I keep saying time and time again, I'm praying that, you know, things are going to be less, but knowing how things are in New York, it's not going to be so good, okay? Thank you for watching, and please stay safe out there. And more importantly, remember to be aware of your surroundings.